Hey guys, Bobby Lee here, Slap King 2020. What's up? I'm on tour, Denver Comedy Works, March 12th to the 14th. Be there or be square. Houston, Texas, March 27th to the 29th at the Houston Improv. Dallas, Texas at the Addison Improv, April 3rd through the 5th. San Diego American Comedy Club with Crazy Justin, April 30th to the May 2nd. He should be hospitalized. Ontario, California, my favorite club in Ontario. It's the only one there. May 8th through the 10th at the Ontario Improv. Go to BobbyLee.com and grab them before... BobbyLeeLive.com and grab them before they're gone. I wish I didn't see that Michael Jordan thing. It got me a little emotional.
Which one?
The Kobe tribute?
Oh, the Kobe tribute. That's not a Michael Jordan thing. That's a Kobe thing. He was just a guest.
Turn the cameras on.
My God.
Yeah, I cried during the Michael Jordan thing. Yeah. And let me say something, man.
Nothing better than turn the cameras on. I cried during the Michael Jordan. Did we get that? Did we get that I'm emotional and I have a soul?
Yeah. But I think when Michael Jordan cries, he cheats a bit.
In what way?
He doesn't wipe it out. You know, you're organic, you know what I mean? Is to instantly do it, but he lets it flow.
I don't like the ones where no tears are coming, but they're doing this.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
even
that's worse.
Where you're like, I'm crying, I swear, and then so they fake it. I don't know.
That's why guys wear sunglasses at funerals. Because you're not really crying, but you can pretend.
I don't know. Oh, wait, does it go? I shouldn't talk until I say mine. You know what? You already told me the rules.
What the fuck, Rory?
That's part of the challenge, is to not.
Yeah. Yeah, so, you know, I was at the taco stand and I was watching some of the Michael Jordan stuff and really sad. Kobe passed as well. I'm kidding. Yeah, cut that out.
That's not,
Cut that part out.
You tried.
It kind of fit.
Didn't quite land.
It's okay.
Yeah. Anyway, start then, you fucking asshole.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, yeah. Man. Woo!
What is that?
Woohoo! Or my gooches, you know, on my face. My girlfriend in Hawaii said that I look like Robert Downey syndrome. And that was a real thing. She said that on the elevator, and I almost fucking. I just bought these. I almost fucking broke them in the elevator. It was a good slam, babe.
Good slam.
And then I posted it on Instagram, and then some lady was like, "You know what? It's bad comedy writing. You know." She's like, it's bad comedy writing to make fun of people with Down syndrome, and you should really think about your jokes and whatnot. And I go crazy when regular people try to tell me what funny is. But anyway, it wasn't even a fucking...
Well, there's a deeper story to that. When I said Robert Downey syndrome, he's like, I'm going to tweet that. I was like, you're going to pass it off as your joke when it came out of my mouth? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to do that. But as soon as that lady was like, you shouldn't make fun of people with Down syndrome, his response was, well, my girlfriend said it.
That's the truth. And that's what the podcast is about truisms. Truisms. And, you know, I want to introduce people in the room, and we have a very special guest as well. I love everyone listening. We have this guy right here. George is a good dude. But if you ever want your set decorated, because I have a podcast with Andrew Santino, and this guy fucked it up.
#1 new podcast of 2020.
Oh, George.
Oh, you fucking... That's so white the way you said it, too.
In front of your friends?
In front of your friends.
Yeah. Rory's in.
Yeah, Rory's in the house, too.
He's
piece of
embarrassed.
shit.
In front of Rory,
It's so
George?
embarrassing.
I'm.
He's gonna fucking leave now, you fuck.
We lost the guest.
I can't do this. This isn't good for me, guys. This is not good.
It's not a good look, yeah.
It's not a good look.
Will you
for
shut the fuck up, too, all right? You know the fucking rules, Rory.
You did say Rory. You did say my name.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've been released. I've been released from the invisible jail of non-talking.
But, you know, the set that he built, Bad Friends, it's like that show, the first 48.
Great show.
You like it looks like an interrogation room. Like in some Miami 1980s. It's terrible. And people ripping us up on the internet, trolls going, it's a terrible set. But you know what? You worked hard on it. I remember I saw you doing things, you know what I mean? So thank you for that. All right? Good try.
You're welcome.
All right. Shut the fuck up. I love you. John's got a new baby. Yeah.
Another one?
Yeah.
my God,
He doesn't really know because he's high as fuck right now, but you congratulate. You just had a baby, okay? All right. You high fuck. I love you. Thanks for joining us. All right. He's like Data from the Goonies if he grew up. You know what I mean? He has that. Yeah. Laugh. Yeah. Yeah. Like Short Round. Remember that?
Very short round.
Remember that? Holy smoke, Dr. Jones.
Dr. Jones.
Dr. Jones.
Dr. Jones.
Yeah. That's what you are. And then we got Gabby.
Yep. That's my name.
I love Gabby.
Man, the amount of people that have messaged me.
Yeah.
That, hey, man, did you really run the 100-meter dash, but in only 90-meter room?
Yeah. It's not how the joke goes, but yeah.
Ish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ish.
Sad.
It's not meters, yard.
Yard.
Yards.
Yeah, that's the joke. But very good try.
Thank you so much.
What's wrong with me today? I'm so fucking
Well, can I
feisty.
tell people why you're
Can we get
feisty?
to Rory so that
No,
we
I
can
know we
hear
will.
him
Just
speak?
tell him real quick.
I'm
Well,
not here
Bob-
to be part of this. I am here to meet the group.
Like he's a white guy just observing Asians talk at a zoo.
Oh, okay.
Interact.
Oh, all right.
You can't. Don't.
I won't get specifics.
Yeah. Don't get specific.
I'll just say Bobby came with some heat in the room because he was psychologically attacked by some online trolls that attacked bad friends.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And that's that. And that's enough.
Put him in a mood.
Right.
That's it.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Well, first Andrew Santino put me in a mood. He's screaming and all that stuff. You know how his
That's-
energy
Yeah,
is.
that's-
Yeah.
My beautiful girlfriend Khalyla of 7 years.
Thank you.
And but we have a special guest today, and I'll tell you why he's special, because I really hadn't really met him. I had heard of him for many of moons and years, you know, and then we'd see billboards with him on it, you know. Like the Netflix special that you
I don't
did.
know if I saw that.
They were there.
What town were you in?
Yeah.
It has to be a town. It wouldn't be here.
West Covina.
Yeah.
And no, I saw you on a billboard once, and then I remember doing Love.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they said Rory Scovel is going to be on it, do scenes with you. And I got really excited. I love those scenes.
Yeah.
They were fun.
Yeah.
And and then you did a movie with Amy Shum.
They cut those scenes.
They did?
Did you not notice
No.
that? Those scenes were cut.
Are you out of your fucking... No.
The magic we made.
No. Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding
When did you find out?
When I watched it.
Go to the premiere?
No.
There's no premiere.
It wasn't.
This is
It
so
wasn't
love.
scene. It was like that one scene, and I think they cut it probably for time. But they were like, "Oh, this isn't a part of the story."
Oh, you mean the scene that when you and I run in about the radio
Yes,
thing?
I think there's a chance we run in and that's kind of quick. Or from what I remember, I don't know that we show up at all.
It's just like, what?
It's the sunglasses.
Oh,
It's
my God.
The other podcast. It's the scenes that are getting cut.
Anywho,
Okay.
we did do it together.
We crushed it.
We crushed it.
Yeah.
And but then I also know you're friends with my friend Nikki.
Mm-hmm.
What's his last name?
Nick Yusuf.
Yusuf. And very talented young man.
Yeah.
And you guys are... Well, let's introduce Rory Scovel. Everybody. Let's do that first. Can we
I
do that?
clap for myself whenever I'm introduced.
Yeah.
I also like me.
Yeah. And you guys are on tour
Yep.
following the band Tool.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
And initially, how did that come up?
Well, myself and Nick and Freddie Scott, we are all obsessed with the band Tool. Went to see them in LA. The three of us didn't really know each other that well, if at all, really. And we decided to get dinner before the concert, chatted about it. We were like, oh man, we're all in deep. We all love this band.
Yeah.
And Nick made a joke at some point. He was like, if they announce more dates, we should just follow them, do our shows to make money to buy tickets to see their shows.
Wow.
And we kind of laughed about it. And then when they announced more dates, I started thinking about it, and I was like, oh, this is one of those unique things where even if we make no money, and even if, whatever, when we promote this, no one else will be promoting this type of thing.
Of course, no.
And so I was like, oh, maybe there's some traction in that.
Yeah.
And so we decided to book some dates, follow them. I went on Conan. He was like, do you have something to promote? And I was like, well, I'm doing this tour. I could announce that.
Yeah.
So I went on and joked about that. The guitarist for the band saw that. He messaged me, and he was like, I'll hook up tour passes, and you guys can come to the shows and stuff.
Awesome.
So right out of the gate, I was like, hey, we don't have to take the money we're making to buy tickets. He's like hooking it up. So right out of the gate, we were like floor seats, 8th row.
Oh my God.
Backstage passes. We went backstage right after the show. We met him. He let us do this every night after their shows. It got to a point where it was known we would just walk back there and hang out. His whole crew, we'd start going back there. They're like, it's these guys. All right, he's back through there. And so we kind of met the other members of the band that way.
Goosebumps.
And then this is my favorite band since I was 16.
Oh my God.
And now here we are in their world, and maybe because of the business that we're in, of entertainment in general, the illusion of things being magical behind the curtain, we already know that's not what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you already know, everyone's people, and behind the curtain, everyone's just doing a job.
Yeah.
And so going into it, I was like, I hope that's what this is.
Yeah.
And going behind the curtain, I was like, oh yeah, these are 4 dads who are very good at their band.
Yeah.
And they're just very normal,
Right.
very nice. There's no ego at all about how successful they are. They even thanked me for going on Conan and talking about their band.
What?
And I was like, you're welcome, but you do sell out 20,000 seats. I don't know if you need me. I think you're doing great.
But it's fucking funny because Nick used to be my opening act for many years, and he would go on and on about the band Tool.
Yeah.
Right. How they're up there in terms of the Beatles and whatnot. Right. And in my mind, I'm like, there's no way. And so I don't have a CD player. I buy everything off of fucking iTunes and shit.
Yeah.
Right. And so I didn't know anything about Tool. So I would Google it. Go to iTunes Tool, and two things would come up, and they were songs about hammers, and you know what I mean? Not the band Tool, but I would listen to it, preview it. The hammer goes like this, and the nail, you know what I mean? All that
You were
stuff.
listening to children's songs?
Yeah, I was.
You're like, why does he love this band? This is ridiculous.
I didn't like it. And then what happened was,
The screwdriver says to the hammer, hey. Why does he like this? The Beatles? He thinks this is the Beatles.
yeah. So then what happened was, as soon as they put their stuff online, right? I bought all the albums,
Yeah.
and I listened to them from beginning to end. And let me tell you something.
You truly did do that.
I swear to God.
I love that you did that.
Listening to it, and in the beginning, once you start listening, I think I didn't start with the first album. I think I started with the newest one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
From beginning to end.
Yeah.
And it's like a journey.
Yeah.
But I also love, I grew up with Metallica. I like harder stuff as well.
Yes.
But this is a fusion between that and something artistic.
And Pink Floyd.
Yes.
And Led Zeppelin.
Psychedelic.
It's psychedelic,
Yeah.
but it's heavier. But it's not metal. It's heavier, but it's not metal to me.
It's not metal. No.
Yeah.
But when it gets hard,
Yeah.
you can feel it in your fucking bones.
Yes.
You know how it builds?
Yes.
In the beginning,
It's
it's
the
some sort
best.
of noise.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's it builds, and they're usually Papa only likes 2-minute songs. 2 minutes, I'm out. That's why I never liked the Grateful Dead. Right? I don't want anyone to jam in G minor
For 21 minutes?
for 50 minutes. I got shit to do, right? But with fucking Tool, so in my mind, and I'm saying this right now, in my mind, they're probably in my top 10 of all time. And for me to
that's great.
know nothing about them, and to have them in the mix of the Velvet Underground.
Yeah.
I love Roxy music. I love the Beatles, Stones, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Pixies. They're in that now, in my head. And it's so, and imagine not ever seeing a Tarantino movie and being able to see all 8 of them.
Right, yeah.
right? That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
It's-
Well, there's a depth to it. I mean, those bands that you're naming, they aren't. None of them were making music to sell records. They were like, no, this is what we make.
Yeah.
And if people like it, then they end up liking it. And
Yeah.
that's what I love about Tool. Like, to make 10-minute songs from where they're coming from, people will be like, no, make them 3 minutes. Like, make it radio friendly. Not that that's even a thing anymore, but they're not like that. They're like, no, the natural progression
Yeah.
of the song, that's just how long this has to ends up being. And they aren't wasting your time because it doesn't feel like 10 minutes.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Remember when Chicago rebelled against that song? It was an Inspiration. And so they had like a radio friendly version. But if you listen to the whole thing, there's like a 7-minute
Yes.
that has completely unrelated to the ballad that was just sung.
Yeah.
You play it all the time.
I know. I love it because it's so terrible.
Which
that
song
second
was
half.
it? Was it?
It's not for your inspiration.
No, it's not. It's the other one.
You're my inspiration.
Yeah.
When you love somebody.
That's
Dude,
a good, it's a good song. It's a
Peter
good song.
Cetera. Remember, like, when you thought Peter Cetera, you're like, oh, he's like the lead singer of Chicago. And then you learn about Chicago, and you're like, oh, they had like a
one
badass
of 20.
guitarist lead singer.
Yeah.
Do you know about, like, are you a Chicago fan?
Well, I liked their earlier work, but then
Yes.
they became ballady.
That's
Well,
because
because
that's
that
because that
fucking-
guy died.
David Foster teamed up with Peter Cetera and like convinced
Yes,
him
yes.
to say, hey, like get with the times, make your money with these 3-minute love ballads.
And they did. I will say they did crush those ballads.
They did.
but that's not the band.
That's not
that
their
they
sound
were.
at all.
It's like
Their lead singer had a like scruffier voice, and he was a badass guitarist.
yeah. It's like if Anthony Kiedis died and they go call Yanni, or call.
I love Yanni. I love Yanni.
I know, but it just would fuck
Just
up.
now, you went, oh my god, Yanni with RHCP. Oh fuck,
I would
that's
be
the
okay
fusion.
with
Now
that.
that's fusion.
We were also talking about how like comics when we meet they're so accessible, right?
Yes, yes.
Like we were out yesterday. I went to Sebastian Maniscalco's house, and Bill Burr's there with the daughter, and Dalia. A bunch of people were there, and it's like I love seeing everybody, but there's no. Even if I met like if George Carlin, was alive, it would be like cool. But there's something about meeting somebody that's not in your field, like a
Yes.
rock star. Right?
Yeah, it's the person that's out of your field where it's more exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I met in the last month Joey Santiago. He's the guitarist of one of my favorite bands of all time, the Pixies, right? And he said, when I met him, he's like, this is so fucking gross, but this is so gross. This is so gross.
Oh no.
It's
You
pretty
have to-
good.
I'm about to say something gross.
Say it.
Autograph?
No, in the beginning when I met him, right, because it was just a social gathering, he goes, "Hi, I'm Joey," and I pretended I didn't know who he was.
Come on,
So
dude.
this is what I go. I go, "Your name is Joey?" He goes, "Yeah, Joey, right?" Joey, and I just pretended I already knew who he was when I saw him.
Of
right?
course.
Right? But I was just trying to like pretend. But then he goes, I'm a big fan of your work, man. I love your comedy and this and that. And I go, oh my god, when you guys got back together,
I don't think that's gross at all. I think that's hilarious.
yeah, I know.
To act like you don't know your favorite guitarist because he doesn't know that you feel that, right?
Yeah, well,
And I'm sure he was just like the nicest guy of like.
he was so nice.
"Yeah, I'm in the
but
business. Maybe you've
but
heard of us.
I know, but the reaction, I almost sucked his dick. Like I was like, and Doolittle, and Surfer, and went on, and at first he was just in my head I was thinking, he was thinking, I thought you didn't know my name. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's what I perceived. Maybe that's not what he was thinking.
Yeah.
But it's like I try to play.
How fun is that?
It's so fun.
Hey guys, we're going to take a quick break to share an amazing sponsor with you.
Hymns. If you don't, you got it.
Hymns.
If you don't,
you
got it. You guys, Hymns is a product or a service. It's not really a product. It's a service that I wish that I had as a young man.
Yeah.
I wish that a lot of my friends had it. Because I know some friends of mine that have had plugs in their head.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it looks unnatural, man.
Hymns.
Yeah, hymns. And listen, man, as a young man, for me, I was losing my hair and whatnot, and I wish I had no money, and I wish there was a service like this. These people, this is not snake oil shit.
No, it's not.
This is professionals. You go to the website, right?
Yep.
And you can get professional advice for your penis problems, your hair problems. You know, I have a very close friend that should have done it.
You know, with that being said, right now our listeners can get started with their first month free. Go to forhims.com/belly. That's forhims.com/belly. Prescription requires an online consultation with a physician who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Offer valid only if prescribed. 3-month minimum subscription. Additional restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Remember, that's forhims.com/belly.
Belly.
Yeah.
We use it. We love it.
Enjoy the rest of the show.
Whoa.
I love. And he was like, I love your stuff.
And
Doesn't that feel so good?
I'd rather have that than anything else because, you know, when you're in high school, you know, you were in high school. You were a kid once, right?
No. I can't relate to that. I don't know your journey.
Yeah. I mean, in high school, did you smoke weed?
Yeah, that's when I started.
Right. And so you would smoke weed and like listen to Tool or you know your
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you never in your mind think one day I'll know this person
Ever.
ever.
Never.
Especially then you probably didn't even think about doing comedy then.
It would never, not
Yeah.
at all. I didn't. I thought comedy was stand-up comedy was like you wear a suit and it's very like do, and I was just like, oh, that seems like so hard to do. I don't know what that. I don't think like that at all.
I know.
It truly wasn't until I saw David Cross and I was like, oh, it can be more casual. I
Oh.
was like, oh, I'm more that than a suit and set up punch.
Yeah, so David Cross was your lead-in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Show, seeing David Cross, seeing Swartzen's half hour on Comedy Central, all that like more, maybe, I guess closer to my age, because all stand-up I had always seen was like older people. But seeing that it was like this sort of youthful, less polished, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but I don't know that I'm not the biggest fan of super polished. So
Yeah.
seeing that there's people doing, you know, this like, hey, we're talking and in the event of talking, I will make something funny. I'm like, oh, that's more my speed. I like
Right.
that.
It's also the way those guys dress.
Yes.
Also, I loved when Janine did her first HBO special where she brought a notebook on there.
Yes. And she had like the ripped jean shorts. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that to me, my lead-in was Margaret Cho because
Yeah.
before her, number one, I'd never really seen. I saw Henry Cho, who was like the Southern guy, which I know him now. He's the nicest guy in the world.
Well, all the shows you saw.
Yeah, I know all the Cho. Johnny, you know what I mean?
Margaret Cho,
Yeah.
Henry Cho.
Enrique Cho.
Enrique.
Yeah.
Unique one.
Vladimir Cho.
Vladimir,
Big fan of
all,
Vladimir
yeah.
Cho. Yeah.
So all so different.
Yeah,
so
they're all
wildly
so different. They're all different points of views. But I remember Margaret Cho watching her HBO special or whatever, and then going because she number one didn't have an accent, which was shocking to me.
Yeah.
Oh, she doesn't have an accent, and then all her points of view was from just very personal. My mom, they ran a adult bookstore. You know what I mean? This is how I felt. Drugs, sexuality, all from like an American, like just a normal point of view. And then that's when I went, oh, I can do it too.
Right. Yeah.
You need that almost, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And did you ever meet, David, right?
Yeah. We've met. I wouldn't say we're like close or have seen each other recently, but
How did you meet him?
so Todd Glass was opening for him on a tour maybe like 10 years ago, maybe a little bit more than that. And I was on the road doing my own shows, and I had a buddy that I went to college with me, and he just had a camera, and we were just shooting random stuff, and I was doing shows, he was shooting my shows, and we were just fucking around. And I saw that I knew Todd. Todd was going to be opening for David in like Raleigh or somewhere in North Carolina, and I was performing in Wilmington, and I was like, hey, we're going to come to the show. And so Todd, of course, was like, oh, yeah, we'll come and hang out, be in the green room. And I was like, oh, shit, there's David Cross. Like, it's crazy because you want to be like, hey, I do this because I saw
Yeah.
I saw you do it, which I think is, if someone ever told me that, I would be like, that would floor me, no matter who they are.
Did you
I'd be
say
like, I
that?
can't believe
Why didn't you say that?
there just was, it was just us all hanging out, and it was like, if I would have gone into this emotional thing, it would have been like, hey, we're all laughing. You changed my life. Everyone would be like, whoa, gear shift.
Yeah, that would have
Weird gear shift.
Yeah.
Now this one guy's crying. He's going on stage in a minute.
Oh, right.
That's what I do.
You read it the right way, I think.
Yeah, I wanted to say something, but I had said stuff to Todd. I was like, "Oh, this is crazy" because I got into it. And I there's a part of me that felt like Todd maybe had said something. He was so nice. Not that he wouldn't be nice anyways, but
Yeah.
I just kind of felt like, oh, I'm sensing an energy that he knows where I'm coming from.
Yeah, he influenced a lot of fucking people.
Yeah,
He really did.
I mean, Mr. Show, outside of stand-up, but Mr. Show, anybody who had a sense of humor was like, I wish I was on something like that. I wish me and my friends were doing that.
Even being on Mad TV and then watching something like Mr. Show. I mean, I always thought that doing a sketch on, because I did 8 years of Mad, you know what I mean? And it was just like, you
Bragging. Go ahead.
How many years of man?
8 years. But I always thought, like, because I grew up with, like, SNL, and I grew up with watching In Living Color, and I always just, I just never felt, I loved the people I worked with. I mean, I met great people on there, but to see something like Mr. Show and be experimental,
Yes.
and the way they would, like, just bleed into sketches and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and really try to open the envelope.
It was like the high version.
Yeah, but I wish we would have done that.
Yeah.
I mean, you would pitch ideas that were a little weirder, but it just because it's network and because, it's just not. It's not my show.
Right.
I'm one of many. Right. And
My curfew in high school was midnight, and that's when it came on HBO.
Yeah.
One night, I don't know what back then you didn't know the schedule of TV. You just kind of like
Yeah.
you came across stuff, and
Yeah.
then when you found it, you couldn't get the information as to what it was unless you got like the TV guide or something.
Yeah.
So I came home one night at midnight, right before I'd come home from my curfew. I would get really high with my friends. And then I'd go in, and my stepmom would be like watching something in the living room, and I knew I could be super high because it was just like, hey, I'm back, whatever. And I go downstairs, I'm in my own world.
Yeah.
And I remember going downstairs and like turning the TV on. It was HBO, and that's what it was. And I just sat down to be like, what is this? And 5 minutes in, I was like, what is this?
Amazing.
And so much so that I then when I went to college, I went to a party one night at another college. We were playing each other in football, and I went to this party with the other guys on the soccer team, and it was on. And the guy who lived there, I go, what is this? I was like, what is this called? I was like, I've seen this.
Yeah,
and he was
yeah.
like, it's Mr. Show. Do you not know what Mr. Show is? I was like, no, tell me everything you know
Wow.
about what this is and
Yeah.
who these people are.
Yeah.
And he explained everything to me, and I told him, I was like, I saw this in high school at midnight one night, and I didn't know what it was, and I thought it was the most brilliant thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
Like on par, the first time you watch Holy Grail, you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And that's how I felt with Mr. Show. I was like, oh my God, this is unreal.
Don't you love back then when you're not forced or fed or like, how like these companies just fucking bombard you with advertisement?
Yes.
That discovering shit
Yes.
on your own
Yes.
is the wonder of back then.
Or having a friend show you something that you've never even heard about.
Yes.
I remember the first time I saw Holy Grail, my buddy was like, do you know what Monty Python is? I was like, no. He's like, do you know what Holy Grail is? I was like, no. And I spent the night at his house one night.
Yes.
He put it on, and we just sat there, and I was like, this is incredible.
Yeah, incredible.
Like, what am I watching?
When I was in high school, we used to do meth.
Okay. End of story.
Yeah.
Anyway,
We used to watch meth.
we got into meth, and we were like, what is this?
No, but that's the thing we would do in Poway back then.
Yeah.
Is do a little meth on the
I would
side.
never associate a sweet town like Poway
Yeah.
with crystal meth.
Well,
You guys have country clubs. It's a very affluent,
there was a little underbelly, and that was me. I was the underbelly of
Poway.
Poway High.
Poway guy.
Yeah. And so we're on meth, and I think we're on acid as well, which is a terrible terrible combination.
I've never done either. I already know that.
Yeah, you're just hallucinating, but up. You know what I mean? So you're seeing everything way too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he was like, "You gotta watch Sam Raimi's Evil Dead 2.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
You know, and
It's a good suggestion.
yeah, and we turned it on,
Jesus.
and it, you know, that scene where he cuts his hand. You ever see the movie?
No, but
Very visceral.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rory.
it's okay.
Rory.
I'll lean in.
Rory. I have to. Rory. This is weird. I've never done this before.
This a seance?
No, but yeah, but my hands on top of yours like this. This has
It's
never
like
been done.
two cats right now.
Yeah. Rory, I implore you. Right?
Okay. All right.
Sam Raimi's Evil Dead 2 is a masterpiece
All right.
of filming.
I believe you.
Yeah.
Can you edit that to just that? Post that and people are like, wait, what is the show? He just convinces people to watch one movie every episode. It's always Sam Raimi's Evil Dead 2. It's all it is.
Yeah. But it is so campy and fun, and
Yeah.
you'd never heard of it. Like at Blockbuster, you couldn't really find it.
I know of it. I don't know. That exists for me in one of those movies that that genre of movies I've always known about, and I know, and I haven't watched anything Bruce Campbell ever. And there's a chance I maybe love it, and I don't know if the train has left the station, and I'll never know.
Okay, just
You know, like Blade Runner. I've never watched Blade Runner. I know.
Wow.
And people are like, you've got to see Blade Runner. I'm like, but what if time is gone now?
I know, but I think they're evergreen movies.
I agree with that for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
I implore you.
I just watched
It's- what is-
Terminator 2 recently.
Did you like it?
Yes. Terminator 2 holds up
Yes.
for me.
Yes.
I love it.
I loved it too.
Also, for Edward Furlong's first movie,
Yeah.
great actor.
So great.
He's so good in that
So
movie.
good. So good.
Yeah.
What are some
don't
movies
know.
that people continually like? Do
You
Edward
got
Furlong?
so emotional. What happened to him?
I just looked him up the other day.
Yeah, he looks terrible.
He's okay.
No, he looks like.
I think we all probably look terrible. Like if I was in a movie when I was 12, right now you'd be like,
Oh,
hey,
that is true.
You'd be holding my hands, going,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
need to watch other movies.
You're right. That is a good point. If I was in a, he looks great.
I think he looks
You
like
think
an
that
older,
looks great?
Yes, I think like he looks like an older Harry Styles.
No, he looks like a young Jabba.
Here's what I think.
That's young Jabba the Hutt.
I think very very fuckable still. I think he's great looking.
Here's what I tell you. He's got a little Tim Curry, doesn't he?
A little
Yes.
bit.
There's a little Tim Curry there. But here's the thing.
He's got a Palpatine's eyes too.
Who knows the context of this photo? Palpatine's eyes with little Tim Curry. You got yourself an adult Edward Furlong. You know, but who knows if he's like, I do need a haircut. And you're like, because when I need a haircut, it is night and day. If you see me one day and the next day I've gotten a haircut, you would honestly be like, did you lose 10 pounds from last night?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I know, I look completely different.
Yeah.
Even like just trimming my beard. And maybe that's, why am I defending Edward Furlong?
I have no idea. Well, 'cause
even
you just
know
saw
it.
We just saw Terminator 2.
Yeah,
We
that's
were really
why.
invested emotionally.
You know what? You're right.
Yeah.
I like the T-1000 want to protect him.
good.
You know who I want to protect?
Is it the T-1000 or is the T-1000 the other one?
I always protect.
I never saw it. Never seen it.
I always protect Devon Sawa.
Okay.
Who the fuck's that?
Casper.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The friendly ghost?
Yeah, I will protect him till the day I die.
But
Also, Little Giants.
wait.
Yeah.
Casper. He played Casper the
He was
ghost.
Casper. Yeah,
But was he the voiceover? Is Casper? What?
he plays both. He was once a real boy, now he's Casper, and then he goes back to being real.
Oh,
at the
I
end.
never saw that movie. Was it good?
But just the way you defended Edward Furlong, I'll do that forever.
You felt a responsibility.
Yeah, I
You're like,
do.
you know what? It's time for me
It
to step
impacted
up.
me as a child.
Little Giants. Good call. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Icebox.
Is he alive?
You remember that?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Baby, is this fuck alive?
Of course he is.
What's this fuck doing now?
Acting probably.
Oh.
Just like Edward Furlong.
But where is he?
Yeah.
I just looked at his Instagram the other day. I think he's doing okay. He's a
Yeah.
family man now.
Yeah.
What else do you want to know about him?
Yeah, he still looks good.
Oh,
yeah.
he's cute. He seems very young.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, he's got kind of a
Ooh.
You know when the lips are like that though, I don't like
Hey,
it.
what kind of lips? I want to see.
Yeah,
What is it about the lips? What is it?
Very-
You
I
don't
don't-
trust it.
I don't trust the lips. The lips, they look like there's no lips.
There's lips. They're absolutely lips.
Like
They're
ghost-
normal,
it's like cats-
regular.
it's like cats-
Is
They're
it the
ghost
lips?
lips.
Ghost
Let me
lips,
ask you
man.
this: is it the lips or is it the nose?
Let me see the nose.
I think
Right.
I think the
You
nose
pointed
is
that
making
out.
you think it's the lip.
That logic checks out.
That is a very logical
And
thing.
I'm not, and just to be clear, I'm not saying that's a bad nose. I for certain I have no ground to stand on when it comes to people's noses.
Yeah.
But I think I know what you mean. Like you see those eyes and that nose, and there's something about it. You're like, don't you smirk at me.
That's
But
what-
also in the back of your head, you're like, I
Yeah.
bet that dude could kick my ass,
oh, you would
and you
Yeah.
stay away.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. You think a lot of people could kick our ass?
Me
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know, I was gonna say the way I met Margaret Cho back to the way you met David Cross. I wanted to say
Yes.
this is that I was at Dublin's. Did I say this already?
No.
Who cares?
No,
Say
no,
it.
no.
I said it again. No, not today, but in previous podcast. I forget, John.
Say it.
Yeah.
Every episode. Say it.
And she, I was doing a show there, and she just showed up, and she goes, "Hey, I just thought I saw you on a flyer, and I just want to meet you."
She said that to you.
Yeah, she just came into
How
this.
do you have this connection with all these people you look up to? They come to you. You're doing it right.
It's called manifestation.
I think you're right.
Do you believe in manifestation?
I do. After this Tool tour, I 100% believe it.
Right?
Yeah.
Because
I genuinely think I've died, and now I'm getting to live out this thing. And as soon as it ends, someone's like, you've been dead for like 4 years. And I'm like, okay. Yeah.
Do you
that
ever
makes
get
sense.
those moments of, I don't know if you suffer from anxiety, where you have to check whether or not you're actually living?
I don't know how to check, but my mind does wander into the realm of there is no way for us to actually know any of the things we've convinced ourselves that we know.
But what do you look at in your room that convinces you that, okay, I am in fact still alive? Because there are moments
Nothing.
where I'm like, oh shit.
Nothing. Nothing.
Nothing.
You know what I think? I think
do
think
this.
when you die, you're unaware that you died, and you just keep living, and everyone else in another
hope that's the
alternate thing
case.
is like, oh, we're so sad about
what?
we lost you, and you're like, you don't even know. There's so many levels of existence.
That's
You don't
actually a
even
comforting thought.
understand that you're. I tell people. I was like, what if I died in a wreck on the way here? I was like, the good news is you just never know. And you
Yeah.
just keep thinking, oh, I'm still alive.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you don't ever know. And everyone else in reality, if we're calling it that, they know you died. Anyways,
But
does
let-
that,
but-
does that
no, but-
have
but let me-
anything to do with
no,
meth
no,
and
no,
acid?
no. Yeah, but
Is that at all
if
what
you're
Evil Dead is like?
85 years old,
Yeah.
if you're 85 years old, you're old.
Yeah.
So then eventually, I feel like when I'm 85, I'm going to think to myself, okay, any second now.
Yes.
Any second. Oh, that's not it.
But here's where this comes from. Like taking it like 85 and you're like, well, I'm going to die. People tell us like, okay, so when you do die, you're told that either nothing happens and that's just how it is, or people, religious beliefs of being like, well, no, then you go to like heaven or you go to hell or whatever the thousands of different beliefs could possibly be.
Yeah.
But the reality being like, what if what if death isn't something you're aware of? What if, because we think it, we're like, oh, I'm so afraid I'm going to die. Like, sure, in the moment, but what if in a horrific moment, everyone goes, oh my God, we all saw I hate bringing this up, but sometimes this makes me feel better about situations. But what if right now, in an alternate reality, Kobe's just fine and he doesn't know that this has happened,
this is
and
happening.
he's living his life, and there's this family, and that's just how it.
But what
just
I'm
keep
saying-
going.
what I'm
Not
saying
seeing the
is-
lake house with Sandra Bullock.
I know, but people, what I'm saying is Kobe in
And
this
Keanu.
alternative life, right, will eventually turn 90 and he's going to die.
But you don't know that you haven't been 90. Every second,
what you're
you're
saying is don't
convincing
forget-
yourself.
Oh.
You're convincing yourself of a past, and you're convincing yourself of a future. But realistically, those are not actual things. You're only like all your regrets and all your fears and all your aspirations. That's all good to have, but literally, there's only the moment you're in is the only one you can actually see.
So what you're saying to me is
Ramdas.
that Kobe,
Exactly, I
maybe,
think it probably is.
Kobe never really.
I just follow a lot of different motivational instincts.
that Kobe
Third eye.
maybe didn't experience the helicopter crash.
Yes.
That that he all of a sudden that's forgotten, and he just woke up that day and a completely different thing happened.
Or in his life, that helicopter landed, and that he coached that game. They got back in the helicopter.
Yeah.
He still exists. It's not that he's like existing with the people that are aware of it. He just. I think it's. And people go, well, what do you think logically happens when you die? Logically, and the most simple version, you probably die, and that's just it. And people go, that's so depressing. Like, how can you be depressed of things you are unaware of if you don't exist?
You're so right, because if you really think about it, even if you think about the very beginning, when do you recall being a baby from the age of birth to 4 years of age?
Nothing.
No. So it's like you don't miss out on that part. You're not going to miss out when it's over.
Yeah.
You don't.
Or is it ever over?
Yeah.
I love that you're
stressed
finding
out.
stress in this as opposed to
We're
relief.
comforted by the thought. I'm comforted by the thought that when it's over, it just is.
Yeah.
Over.
Do you guys read? Are you guys readers? I'm
Yeah,
not.
I know
I'm
to
not.
read,
Yeah.
Rory.
Do you
Do you know?
do you read? Do you know how to read?
Have I read? No, but I know.
I've
how.
never read, but I'm told that I will know when the time comes.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break to share another favorite sponsor of ours.
I love Liquid IV. Liquid IV. I love it. When I was in Hawaii,
Yeah.
mahalo aloha to you. I was feeling very my energy was depleted, and I couldn't move on. You know, and you fools gave me some Liquid IV. It's a packet, right? And it gives you electrolytes, and it goes right into your system. It felt so good as soon as I drank it. And they also have a sleepy one. What's it called?
The sleepy one.
Yeah, they have one.
Call it the sleepy one.
They have one. This company has one that helps you go to sleep, and I passed out like a little monkey when I drank it.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tell them about it.
And if you guys are wondering, like, why does Bobby feel so energetic in Hawaii? It's because of Liquid IV is cellular transport technology. It's called CTT. The optimal ratio of glucose, sodium, and potassium delivers water nutrients into the bloodstream. So when you drink it, now you're getting hydrated. Get 25% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use the code BELLY at checkout. That's 25% off anything you order at Liquid IV's website. Just go to liquidiv.com and enter the promo code BELLY to save 25% and get better hydration. That's liquidiv.com, promo code BELLY. Don't wait. Start properly hydrating today. Enjoy the rest of the show.
There's a great book, Many Lives, Many Masters. Highly recommend it. It's about a psychologist trying to help this woman. This is like back in the early 90s, maybe, late 80s. Trying to help this woman who has these horrific fears, horrific phobias. She's not sleeping. She's her great fear of water. All of these things. And apparently he's like top notch. That's the guy to go see. And he cannot crack her in trying to figure out what is it in her mind. So he decides a last ditch effort to try hypnosis. Puts her under. And she starts telling him about lives that are clearly from like forever ago. And she like explains in the 18th century about drowning and him. Like he starts piecing all these things where he's like, oh, you've carried over these things from his life. I'm not saying that obviously you take everything with a grain of salt. But when I read that book, I was like, oh, this is a more delightful version and vision of what maybe could happen when you die, is that he helped correct her supposedly, and she kind of figured out what she had and like went on to live a prosperous life. Whether it's all real, I don't know. But her description of, when you die, you leave your body, you're aware that you died, and then you can spend as much time sort of in this ether before you decide that you want to reinsert yourself back into this thing.
But even bad people get to have that choice?
I think everyone...
Shit.
Well, here's what I believe. I personally believe that if that is a version of anything, that when people look at our lives as being like, we're being tested, and it's always simplified to like, well, God is watching you, and if you're bad, you'll go to hell, and if you're good, you go to heaven.
Yeah.
Like, it's so oversimplified. You're almost like, that can't be it, because that's just too...
Yeah.
That's so weird. But to me, it's like, well, what if in your life it is a genuine test of you? Because when people talk about God, like anytime you do something that you know is fucked up, you know it. So it's like you do see it. You are aware of when you've fucked up. You are aware of when you've done something right. You know when you've done something good simply to feed your own ego. And you know that sometimes you feel bad about that and you reconcile going, well, I did still do something good. You know what I mean? Your analysis of your own existence is almost like you're your own warden of sorts if our lives are prisons.
What you're talking about is the noticer, right? Can we talk about that? What Eckhart Tolle talks about?
I would love to. Let's do it.
No,
Oh, you noticed.
The observing
Yeah.
mind, babe.
Yes.
yeah, but there is something behind my thoughts,
Yes.
right? That's observing
Your third eye.
my third eye,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So when I'm
Like,
behaving in a bad way, like I'll snap.
Yeah.
But there's always something behind it, watching myself do it.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like that's my true self.
Yes.
Right? And that other stuff is just like my brain or like because
Ego.
of my ego and
Yeah.
because of my history, it's tied to some sort of trauma or something.
Right.
Why I react that way. But I am always observing, you know what I mean, the way I'm doing it. You think that my God.
It's your nobodiness.
Yes.
Right? Like everything else that the angry Bobby and all that stuff, that's the somebodyness that we're supposed to get rid of.
Yes.
Because it's actually that's where the ego lies, that's where the pain and suffering lie, is in your somebodyness. Ramdas.
Ram Dass.
Imagine
Yeah.
someone picture someone who isn't constantly in conversation with themselves at like all times.
Yeah.
Like I am talking to myself to the point where it's so much, and I'm so certain that we all do it, but it's so much that I'm like, oh, am I crazy and I don't know it? Like, do people shut this off and they just sit there? Or am I a lunatic who is constantly having a conversation in my head as though I'm observing my own life, almost like I'm two different people?
Yeah.
But I'm not. It's I've always observed it as healthy. I'm sure there can be, we know for a fact, there can be unhealthy versions of that. But in my mind, it's always like, a pep talk to yourself or a motivational thing or, when you're dealing with stress or grief or whatever and you're trying to collect yourself. I picture people who don't do that. I'm always like,
Yeah.
what is in there?
Rory,
What's going on?
the goal is,
I want to be empty-headed. That's
Yeah,
my goal.
It does feel like Zen, right?
and what have I been doing every night?
Are you talking to me? Are
meditating.
you asking me?
No, no. I wanted to prove the fact that every single night now I meditate.
Yes.
Right.
And he
Great.
falls into these really deep slumbers that he's never previously.
Yes.
Yeah, and because I meditate, in the last 15 years,
Never did his taxes.
You're right.
I never did. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I owed the IRS $350,000. Everyone knows that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I never did
I
my
read
taxes.
your blog.
yeah. But before I started meditating, I haven't dreamt in 15 years.
Really?
Yeah. Since I've been meditating, I dream constantly.
Yeah.
And I remember them.
Very thick, rich dream.
Right. So
Yeah.
what I do is, it's hard at first, right? So I sit Indian style, and I lean up against a wall, and I don't know if this is right or wrong.
Are
but
you up or down?
What?
Are you grounding or are you asking when you meditate?
Is that just the position of the palms?
Yeah.
No,
So,
no.
like,
Always
this
rested
is more
on your knees,
grounding,
or
and
like-
this
No,
is more like
no, I don't open it like this because I'm not doing fucking high fives to God, right? Pap, pap. I'm not doing that. Yeah.
But you say
the
that
devil.
you say
The
that
devil.
like that's ridiculous. But if you could high five God, you would do that.
Oh
right?
yeah.
You'd be like, hey, here we go.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That would
Yeah.
be cool. Yeah. But so what I do is that'd be cool to high five God.
You know what? That would be neat.
Yeah. Like when you nut.
how do you? Yeah.
You know?
You're saying that's a high five to God.
If I nutted right inside you,
Yeah.
raw dog, right, and that'd be cool.
What's your? Is that your cream pie high five?
Yeah, and just God just going, yeah.
High five.
Cool, yeah. Green pie high fives.
The name of the episode. Yep.
Cream pie. Yeah, that'd be. Thank you.
That's-
But
yeah.
so what I do is I sit there and I don't know if this is right or wrong, but I put earplugs in.
Yeah, sure.
She was saying she was arguing. We had an argument a couple weeks ago about
Well,
it.
the point of meditation, the way I learned it, is to just accept noises around you and to observe it, just like an incoming thought, is to be able to kind of not invest in. Because you cannot always control your surroundings, right? If you're somebody who lives in the city and you need to meditate, you need to be able to accept all that's happening.
Yeah, but I can control my surroundings by putting earplugs in my fucking ear.
Yeah, okay, if that works for you.
Interesting.
Look, it's working obviously because you're dreaming
Yeah,
again.
it's
So
working.
who am I to say anything?
Yeah, because
I
when
can see both. I can see both.
Thank you,
versions
Rory.
here.
Thank
I
you.
genuinely can.
You can.
Yes.
So I put it.
I can
in.
see like putting the effort. This is easy. I can also be like, you got to train yourself. You got to be able to like do that on your own.
Yeah.
Maybe work your way up to that.
yeah. I'm a
Maybe start
beginner.
doing one and go insane.
Yeah.
You go absolutely crazy.
I would go crazy. So I put it in my ear, right? And so it's you can't hear anything because I use the waxy kind, right? I just dig them in there, and I sit there, and I can hear my heartbeat first, right? And then
Creepy, right?
it's pretty creepy.
Yeah.
And it's always fast.
Yes, and you want to slow it down.
And when it's
Can't.
I know I can't.
It's years of those meth acid cocktails
I know.
creeping up on you.
So this is what I hear. I go, my heart beating, right? So what I do is I breathe in. This is probably boring for listening, but this is the truth.
I want to know. I want to
So I
know your
breathe
stats.
in.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's not, because there's some listeners right now taking away going, all right, I'm going to try this.
Yeah. So I breathe in for I count 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Right? I breathe out for 5 seconds. And I even count it for a while, right? And I focus on just the breath and the counting just so that, and I also do this, is because I can't hear, it's usually, I can feel some sort of wind or the temperature in my arm. I notice that so that I can stay in the present moment.
Yeah.
I try to just feel what the temperature is on my skin, focusing on my breathing, and also doing the counting in the beginning, so that I'm not thinking about Joe Rogan because I always think of Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're supposed to have a mantra. So that's a good
His
one.
muscular eyes
Joe
looking at me.
Muscular
Rogan, he has muscles in his eyes, by the way. Because I talked to him last
I think
week.
we all do.
His are protruding. I think he pushed steroids through his eyeballs because he was in the last week. He put me against the wall, telling me about something
With his eyes.
with his eyes, and his eyes were talking like this, and flexing his fucking.
His
muscles.
eyes were pushing my shoulders against the
Yeah.
wall. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So I swear to God, he's the first thought that goes in my head.
That's insane.
Why
It's
is
insane.
that? What do
I
you
don't
think
know
that
why.
is?
I don't know why. I'm
What do you
threatened
think
by
that
it.
is?
I don't know.
He's the first thought that goes through your head.
So the Joe Rogan, I weed him out.
You know what I will? As strange as that sounds, it probably is kind of comforting and formulaic to have this similar starting point all the time.
It is.
Like once you get past that, you go, and now we're in phase 2. I bet it is good if phase 1 isn't different all the time.
Yeah,
if it was always different, you're like, I got to figure this one out. But if
Yeah.
it's always Joe, like, all right, this is what I do. I think about Joe Rogan, and then I cycle to phase 2.
There's also a second person sometimes I think about.
Who?
Wally Wong.
Okay.
Oh, I get that.
Yeah, so I
Because
don't
you
know.
listen to his radio show every day.
Yeah. So there's a guy I started with in San Diego named Wally Wong, right? And he was a comic. He's a Chinese dude. And he was a comic for a very long time before me, during the 80s and 90s. And I did in 6 months of doing comedy, I did a show called Make Me Laugh on Comedy Central. And when I was on the show, since I was so new at doing comedy, that I stole one of his jokes.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right?
Yeah.
And I did it on air.
Yeah.
And then I drove back to San Diego, and I told him about it.
Yeah.
And he never liked me ever since.
Yeah.
He goes, you thief! I remember he called me.
Yeah.
You joke thief!
Is it that, or is it more the impression?
I don't talk like that, Bobby. Stop.
Anyways, when I talked to him, I would talk like that, so
Yeah.
he could relate and understand me.
Yeah, so
And that might be why he's upset.
yeah. But the thing is that yes, I stole a joke from him, but I'm the fucking one that told him about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was clear about it and trying to be a man about it and go, I fucked up. And then ever since then, he's been a piece of shit about it. Fine. So I think about Wally Wong.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
But Rogan's eyes first.
Jesus.
Right? And then Wally Wong. You steal joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That guy, right? So then.
I can see it. I can
Thank
see.
you.
But I will say this: good for you for at least owning it.
Thank you.
But I think you got to accept, like, if he's like, it seems like he should be over it by now, and who knows? You guys could be like super close.
No. I refuse.
But I mean, in that world, there's like a world where he emails you tomorrow and he goes, you know what? I don't know why I've held on to this for so long.
And
I'm sorry.
I would love that.
Exactly.
I would love that. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Wow, Rory.
Yeah.
I think you and I are going to become friends.
Let's get to phase 3. When do you think about me? Like when you're meditating.
Right. So I'm my surroundings, I'm breathing, I'm counting, right?
Yeah.
But I get to the point now,
Counting up or down?
I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I see,
Just
I see,
the
yeah.
breathing,
Okay,
holding,
yeah,
and breathing out 5
Yeah, yeah,
seconds, right? So then I do that. I feel the surroundings. I do the thing, right? And then what I try to do now is then stop counting.
Yeah.
I just do it organically.
Yeah.
All right. And then I start focusing on the breathing as well.
Yeah.
Right. And this takes 5 minutes.
Yes.
Right. But then I get to a spot where I'm literally thinking about nothing.
Yes.
And I'm in it's like a hum. It's a mental hum.
Hold on.
That's very good.
You're not entering into like stages of sleep though, right?
Like REM?
No.
No, not REM. You takes a while to get there, but like you're not.
No.
How do you get it to just go quiet then? Because
Because in trust,
Earbud. He cheats. He's cheating.
I might be cheating, but it works for me.
I don't think there's any cheating if something works for you.
yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I get to the point
It is cheating.
where
Go
it's like, where my mind is going, right, and
that feels so good.
yeah,
That
and
makes
then
me feel good.
Sometimes I think of maybe a thing will pop up like Andrew Santino or whatever, right?
Phase 7.
But it's like a bubble. Think of a bubble floating by
Yes.
you as a thought,
yes.
and I pop it.
I really love that.
So if and I don't blame myself, you can't go if you think about like, oh fuck, I hated that last Star Wars movie, right? And then you can't think after that like, why'd you think that you're meditating? You don't do that. I didn't like that fuck Ryan Johnson. Oh, they did the second one.
Yeah.
Fuck Ryan Johnson, and then pop, and it just let it flow by, right? Every once in a while, but mainly it's in my mind,
Yeah.
And then after about 8-10 minutes, I'll stand up. I'll go straight to the bed. But I hate it when she goes like this. Sometimes I'll meditate, and then she'll say something.
Then the meditation is not worth it. If a word I say immediately,
Can you put the air on? So just listen, all right?
then it was ineffective.
Shut the fuck up, all right? I love you. All right.
Nothing makes me happier than right away you're like, okay, you know what?
The light in me sees the light in you. And
I see the light. I can be better. I will be better. You put the air on. Fuck you! You're always there!
Yeah.
so I didn't even know that this rule existed. I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to say anything until the other day when he just like raged out.
When is she supposed to talk? When are you supposed to talk?
Never. So after he meditates,
Nothing
it turns
more.
out I'm not allowed to speak anymore.
That's hilarious.
Nothing more exciting than a rage out right after a meditation. Literally negating the whole process.
Yeah, sorry.
But you know what I do?
Yeah.
Because I rage out at his rage out.
Yeah.
But the way that
Double rage out.
the way that I bring my rage down, my rage meter down,
Yeah.
is when he goes to bed, I put my hand on his back and I feel his heartbeat. And I say, okay, that is a living, breathing, vulnerable human.
Yeah.
And this could stop any minute.
Yeah.
And I love him and I'm okay.
Yeah, and this is why, and I mean this. Her answer is why women should be the leaders, because you hear that and you're like, yeah, that's the right.
I know.
But as men, we're like, no,
Yeah.
I don't care. Don't talk to me when I'm done. She's like, I give you life through your heart. You're alive, and I love and cherish you. I hope tomorrow you prosper. And you're like, get off my back.
That's exactly what he does, actually.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you're just
women
eating a
aren't
candy
as-
bar in bed. That's
They're not as reactionary as men are.
just having a Fifth Avenue. Why are you touching me? She's like, why do you eat those after meditating?
Who are you supporting?
People.
You
know, I don't like affiliating with any party, but there's no chance that I can go anywhere near Republican right now. That whole party in general has changed in such a way where I'm like, I like, where is the foundation of just common decency and morals? So
Yeah.
right now, it's looking like Sanders, but I really like Elizabeth Warren. Like when she speaks, I believe it. I believe Bernie Sanders too. But when she speaks, I believe it. And also I sense a greater leadership in her voice of saying, this is what I'm saying, and I'm saying it to you, and I mean it, and this is the thing.
Yeah.
I also don't think she has, and I haven't done enough research, but I don't think she has any checkered past outside of this, like, well, was she Native American? Which
Yeah.
I would be like, at the end of the day, I'd be like, yeah, if she did that, and you're telling me right now that that's going to be the worst thing, that would make her a saint. Like, we would all be like, oh, that's crazy. Why did you put that on your thing?
Right.
But in the world of politics, you're like, are you Jesus?
Yeah.
Because that being your only thing means there's nothing. You never did anything.
Yeah.
You know, it's such a dirty thing.
Like I wasn't supporting anybody until last week during the debates when she was feisty as fuck.
Because she knows her shit.
Yeah, she knows her shit, and also it's like she's standing there in front of like mostly men, right?
Yes.
And
Shout out to Klobuchar, though.
Shout out to Klobuchar.
she's great too, but but she mostly men. She went after Bloomberg in the up front. And
So good.
and it was good. But you know what it is that I just like when people are up against the wall and they fight. Right, and she came because she was dying. Her campaign was dying, and she's a survivor. That's what she shows me.
Yeah.
She's a fighter and a survivor, and she's not willing to quit.
Yeah.
And so, for the first time in the last, I don't know, since Obama, I donated money.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
great.
you were mad that I did.
No, I did it for you.
I thank you for donating the money.
I couldn't have been that mad.
Thank you for the. But here's the thing: I gave my
And
number.
she was mad. I'm the one who did it, and I told her we're doing it. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Hand on the heart. Hand on the heart.
I cherish you. I hope you prosper.
Can I ask you guys something?
We're taking another quick break to share this amazing sponsor with you.
Boom, 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 boom. Better help for your body and your soul and your mind. Boom, 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 boom. Better help. You guys, as you know, you're the Celeb King. That's how me was going through so many problems, man. And I don't want to reiterate and keep harping on it, but I was going through a lot of problems, and without therapy, man, I don't know if I would even be alive. It really it helped me take it felt like a Mack truck on my shoulders every time I would walk around, and now I feel unloaded and I feel free and light. BetterHelp is an affordable way. It's online, okay, and you can get help within 24 hours, and it really is an insane, great, affordable service. Tell them more.
BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today. Visit their website and read their testimonials that are posted daily. Visit BetterHelp.com/belly. That's Better, H-E-L-P, and join the over 500,000 people taking charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. Special offer for TigerBelly listeners. Get 10% off your first month at BetterHelp.com/belly. Enjoy the show.
Can I ask you guys something? Is that I donated money, and then I put my number there, and this lady texted me. Here it is. Hi there, it's Nina with the Warren
they all
president.
do that.
Is
Everyone
this
does.
Bobby?
Yes.
So what the fuck do I respond? No?
No, you could be like, yeah, you could. They're actually very conversational.
Oh,
I
they
think you'd
are?
just be like, yeah, let's do this thing.
Let's do
win.
this. Woo!
So, yeah.
I think in
let's
a
text
debate-
together. Let's come up with something together.
Okay.
Yeah, so what do I say? You
Yeah.
know what? I will say whatever you tell me to say. All right, have fun with it.
My life is so simple. I would just be like, yeah, just write, yes, this is Bobby.
Okay, yes.
Why complicate
Yes.
it?
This is Bobby. I'm going to put it in my own flair.
Ask her, do you know the comedian Rory Scovel?
No. Yes, but I'm going to do my own.
Because this is
seen-
story too.
Yeah.
I'm going to go, what's up? What about, what's up?
Yeah.
What's up?
Put a little bit of yourself in there.
Yeah. Do you know Rory Scovel? I'm going to put that. Do you know?
What if she's like, hands down favorite comic? I'm like, can I get her number? Wait, who is she, dude?
Nina.
Yes, this is Nina. So,
Hey, Nina, this is weird. Rory, I was with Bobby when you guys were chatting.
so yes, this is
She
Bobby.
sends the money back. She goes, we're actually really good with our campaign right now. Financially, we're like in a really good place.
I'm going to send it.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, this is Bobby. What's up? Do you know Rory Scovel? I'm hanging out with him right now. I can't just say that. I have to put I'm hanging out.
God, I
Yeah.
hope to God. I hope she
With it right now.
is like, yes.
Right now.
Wouldn't that be so fun?
So
my
great.
God.
Here we
And then
go.
it's so clearly
Send.
an automated response.
Send.
It's like, in 2020, we will need to group together as people. You're like, well, that's not.
Well,
He
what
does
if
a
you said in
robot.
2020 I need you and Rory? So it's not.
Oh, so then you know
yeah.
it's not this
Yeah.
automated thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope she's been sitting there waiting for this reply the whole time. She's like, look at this motherfucker. That was 3 days ago.
Yeah. No, this is last week,
You
right?
left Nina on red, babe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nina's on red, and she's like, okay, this guy's a dick.
You did a movie with Amy, right?
That is correct.
What was it called?
I Feel Pretty.
I
feel
watched it
pretty.
at the movies.
Oh,
With
nice.
my niece and my sister.
Yeah. Nice.
You were
Thank
more
you.
dreamy.
Thank you. Oh, I
What do you
never get that.
Prefer you like acting? What do you? I mean, you like doing all of it, or what do you prefer?
I like all of it. What I like the most, because there's no barriers, there's no notes, there's no one else in charge, is stand-up. It's
Yeah.
the most gratifying in the quickest way, where you can also have nothing and be like, I'm going to go out there for 10 minutes because I just need to, like, talk. You know our disease.
Yeah, it is a disease.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, I can go out there, and if this 10 minutes is fun, I get a little drug and it feels good and whatever.
Yeah,
But
there's
the
this-
other, I like acting. I like I don't know that I've been in anything where someone would go, wow, that was a really challenging role. That hasn't happened yet. But I would love to see if I can rise to that occasion. I would love something that isn't a character that is basically myself, or, you know, something that's obviously very comical.
But Rory, it's so fucking difficult to get these kind of jobs.
I know.
That it's obvious
I know.
that you have
I've
the
made
gift and the talent to do it.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You know you do.
I'm willing to say all of the stuff that I have gotten, not all of it, but a lot of it has come from comedians. Like one of my first things was being on Bo Burnham's show on MTV when it was Zach Stone is going to be famous. I got that because he was like, hey, we don't know each other that well, but I think you're funny, and come in and read, and let's try to see if it. And it was him pushing for me. And then Bill Lawrence making Ground Floor. It was him going, I've seen you do stand-up, so just come in and we're going to try to make this work. Literally everybody just going, and I'm not saying this in a braggy way. I'm saying comics always are like helping comics. I Feel Pretty, that was a role that was happening for someone, and then they couldn't do it. And Amy was like, oh, let's see if Rory wants to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they were like, okay, great. And I think their backs were against the wall time-wise, that they were like, okay, great. And if he's horrible, we'll cut around it. I truly think they thought that.
Yeah.
And then it just ended up working. But it's always a comedian that's like, hey, what about Rory? Or hey, Rory, do you want to do this? And I could name so many other, the Grolix guys from Denver, Adam and Andrew and Ben. Like, a lot of the stuff I've gotten to do, it's comedians helping me out getting it. So a lot of auditions, and yes, I've been cast off of some auditions, but I'm not good at auditioning. And I go in there and I'm not good at, like, in that moment, mega pretending. Like, I know people are like, that's acting. But in those settings, I'm like, this feels very forced.
Yeah.
And if someone said, Bobby, go right now, do 5 minutes, you're like, but the energy isn't in the same place as I need it to do the thing.
Yes.
I need the audience to be here. And if even it was 4 people in the audience, there's a dynamic, there's a feng shui, there's a chemistry and an energy. And I think with acting, maybe that's just something I have to get over, but literally building a character and really stepping into something, I would love that challenge and get to try that.
Yeah.
I shot a show for Comedy Central. We have 8 episodes of a show that we're trying to get out there into the world for people to see, that I really love. I got to
Wait.
be this character for 8 episodes.
Wait, Comedy Central did it?
They shot it. They made it. So
But they're not going to release it?
They're not releasing it. So we're trying to figure out
Why?
where it's going to go. Who knows? This summer, maybe they will. I don't know. We don't know where it's going to go. It's not necessarily their tone of a show. It's very grounded.
Yeah.
And a little more subtle, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it could end up on a streaming service. I hope it ends up somewhere. But I will say that was like a huge lesson in, hey, you're this guy. You're the guy in the thing. We're going to shoot 8 episodes. So you're here every day, Monday to Friday for 12 hours. You go through that and you go, this is satisfying. I love watching those episodes. And then you step back and you go, also doing an hour of stand-up is also super great.
Yeah, that is great as well.
People are like, you got to fly to places to do that. And you're like, yeah, but, like this weekend, I'm flying to Nashville. It's like, hey, fly to Nashville.
Zanies?
Yeah, you fly to Nashville. Super fun.
Yeah.
And then someone's like, yeah, so just hate to bug you, but could you just talk for 1 hour each night? And you're like, I guess so.
It's also-
Acting, it's like, you're going to be here for 12 hours.
Yeah, it's also an hour in front of people that love you.
That are into it. And
Yeah, they're
also,
into it.
also, if it fucking tanks, the needle doesn't really move. You know what I mean?
I know.
You slaughter, the needle's not moving. You bomb, it's not moving. No one cares.
You know, in my life, the most gratifying thing has been, I was just in Chicago and I did Schaumburg, and after the shows, a couple of times I did just a meet and greet, and everyone stayed.
Yeah.
And I honestly thought, for the first time in my life, I went, if this is it, this is it.
Yeah, it's good.
It's not only good, it's like people looking at me and just going, thank you for doing this, thank you for doing, and also being able to hug them and shoot the shit for a brief second, and it just makes me feel like this wasn't a fucking waste.
Right, yeah. Well, all of them are looking and they're like, hey, that thing that is like you, that like little unique thing that you're kind of like, hey, here it is. I'm this weird thing and I do this. You know what I mean? You're vulnerable. You're letting out there. That crowd of people going, no, we get it. We like it.
And they also
how you're like, oh, cool. That's great.
And they also kind of dress the same, and they have the same kind of like energy as
Yeah,
well.
it's the best.
It's like you're fucking people.
Yes.
It really is. And it's because of also, I always had like a Mad TV fan base.
Here we go.
8 years.
8 years. Here we go.
8 years. But I would, because of that, I would fill half of a room.
Sure.
But this podcast has like filled up my rooms. I've sold out the rooms, and so anyone listening right now, I really appreciate it, and thank you so much. And
also, I would just like to interject: if you guys want to start filling up my rooms, that would be the best. I would love my rooms to be filled.
Yeah, you're already in Zany's. But this is airing after you're at Zany's. But give me some future dates. Give me some future dates.
Come on down to the Comedy Closet in Columbia, South Carolina. Also, our Tool dates. We're doing Spokane, March 8th.
Yeah.
We're doing Portland, March 10th.
Yeah.
We're doing Boise, fun, March 13th.
Yeah.
Salt Lake City, March 15th. And it's only those 4 dates.
Now, when you guys do future Tool things, I hate to ask.
Do it. Ask it.
I don't have to do your show, but is there any way I could fly to the town?
Yes.
And get to go see a show?
Yes.
A Tool show?
Yes.
No, being real.
Yes.
I
but you
wanna go
have
to
to
Boise.
do our show.
I'll do your show as well.
Yeah.
Can we go to the Boise one? I've
But
always wanted to
it's
go to Boise.
super insulting. We're like, you will MC our show.
What?
Why?
No, Rory, I swear. No, listen, bro.
But it gets worse. I'm like, you will sound check our show. Why would
You will carry our merch. You will carry our merch.
You will work the merch here. Why are you doing it? Just let me do a spot. Why are you being like this?
Yeah, no, I honestly want to see. I mean, obviously they're amazing live.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's great.
I honestly am a huge fan of the. Here's another reason why. Because I was going to say this earlier. Is I was listening to a Tool song, and then he did a Bill Hicks reference.
Yeah, well, their album Anima is dedicated to him in many aspects. I think
Really?
even literal aspects. But his voice is on the last track of that album, Third Eye.
Oh,
Third Eye.
Yeah, because he
It's the
said
depth.
mentioning about Arizona Bay or whatever. I'm like, that's
And that reference is in Anima, the song, which is about there's the Bill Hicks album.
yeah.
Arizona Bay.
Wow.
They were Bill Hicks fans. They're comedy fans. That's why this union of this idea of being like, let's follow them. It's not so out of nowhere. Like there was always this rumor that Bill Hicks and Tool back in the 90s were gonna like tour together.
Oh.
And then some people think that they did, but the band was like, no, that's a rumor. We never did, but they definitely knew each other.
My God.
Yeah.
That would have been
Incredible.
one of the greatest shows ever
Yeah.
on planet Earth. Bill Hicks and Tool.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Goosebumps.
Yeah. You're meditating right now.
Just shut the fuck up after I'm done, okay, babe?
Joe
When I'm-
Rogan. But now as soon as he's done meditating, you should be like, Joe Rogan. And instantly it was all for nothing. Instantly, he's like, I don't even remember the meditation now. Now I'm not calm.
I'm gonna whisper that as you sleep. Wally Wall.
Muscular eyeballs. Joe,
Us.
So at the end of our podcast, what we do is we do a thing called unhelpful advice.
Great.
So we have people email us, and they ask us questions, and we try to answer them for them.
I love
and
it.
they don't. It doesn't have to be helpful.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
not-
it shouldn't be, right?
We're not. It can be sometimes.
Okay,
If they're
alright.
suicidal and
Oh,
whatnot.
yeah.
You don't want anyone to
A little
die.
curveball right there. Oh, yeah. I like sat up straight. Because, yeah, okay, here comes the email.
Unhelpful advice with Bobby, Khalyla, and Rory Scovel.
Would you like a serious one or a lighter one?
Interesting.
Let's go serious.
Go
Oh, I
serious.
was going to say the opposite. Okay.
Let's go serious first.
My question is about your creative process in dealing with rejection. I'm a fiction writer that has yet to be published in a real fiction magazine. I'm also an addict. Back in college for a couple of years, I wrote stories frequently and productively that were generally well received, which turned out to bolster my confidence and creativity. 2 years after graduation, when I started receiving rejection after rejection after rejection by publishers, I began to lose confidence and became hypercritical of my work. Like you, Bobby, I've always overanalyzed situations and crucify myself internally. I've reached to the point where I can't even write a paragraph without a voice in the back of my head criticizing every word. I know that opiates are demons and they aren't making me better as a writer whatsoever. Yet I don't know how to regain my swagger and write about without overanalyzing my work. My question is, as an artist who is also far too critical of your own work and an addict, how do you shut up the thoughts and doubt in your head?
Oh, my God. It's like you talking about the meditation answered this question. Chicken or the egg? That's what just happened right now.
My honest answer is just you can't live in the results. Number one. You know, a lot of times I do things and I go, what is it going to get me? Why isn't this not happening? You know what I mean? It's just like you
100%.
just do the fucking work.
Well, exactly what you said earlier about the bands like the Velvet Underground making music because that's what they wanted to make.
Yes.
Not because they were looking for an end game.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Velvet Underground's first album, the Banana one with the Andy Warhol one, sold 500 copies. And but there's a legend and a rumor saying that the 500 copies that they sold, everyone that bought that album started a band.
Yeah.
Right? So they didn't have financial success based on now it's obviously over the years has made money, but you know, that album influenced a lot of people. But you know, in New York back then, back in the factory days, they probably didn't no one probably even mentioned it, right?
Right.
They probably thought it was like a failure, maybe.
Sure.
You know, so it's like, for me, it's like, you know, when Rory and I first started doing stand up, we
We were
No
best friends.
we were besties, man.
We were absolute besties. And then Bobby goes, promise me this. For a super long time, we'll pretend like we don't know each other. And then I'll have you on my podcast. And I go, what is a podcast? And he goes, even I don't know yet. Even I don't know.
Yeah, but you remember back then doing it is like you didn't, you know, you would sign up. Sometimes you would go up late, no
Yes.
audience,
Yes.
right? And you did that night after night, and you never. I honestly swear to God, back then, I would do shows and think to myself, I'm probably never gonna make it. I can't.
Of course.
I don't know how to get an aid. I don't know anything about it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There's no one in the audience. They're giving me 3 minutes. But you know what? I did it because by performing, it gave me like a little adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
And it also was the first thing where I did that was brave.
Yeah.
Because I was such a coward growing up and just kind of scared and shy. And I was proud of myself that every night I could just go up there and make a fool of myself. And that alone, I could have just done that for the rest of my life. But fortunately, I created a career off of it, you know?
Right. To sort of like go off of that answer, that first like 3 years is probably the best it ever is, and you don't know it. You don't know it at the time how good it is, but also it's because you're not clouded by fame or fortune, because no part of you has any concept that will ever happen. And not that you want it to happen, but you don't even think that that's like a thing. You just are like, oh, I discovered the sort of underground world of comics going on stage in these places. But also it probably felt so good because ultimately that was probably your first introduction of who you are and ultimately will become. Whereas you were like perceiving yourself to be this person. Then you did this thing, and it was almost like you were saying to yourself, oh, there I am. That's what I do.
Oh my
This
God,
is what I do.
You literally I almost MJ'd it right now, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You almost-
Because think about how you got good at it. Like if that wasn't who you were and what just your thing, you wouldn't be sitting here. You wouldn't have gotten this far. You know, I think we both know that you can't really, in stand-up, I don't think you can really fake it. You know what I mean? Like, there are, like, when people are like, oh, that person steals jokes, most comics are like, well, I hope they don't steal my jokes, but you're not going to get very far doing that. Like, there was a time when you were offended and you wanted to kill them.
Right.
Then there was a time when you were like, oh, you will either learn to not do. I mean, your first time going on stage, you need a joke. You stole a joke, and think how quickly you were like, oh, that wasn't the right thing. I got to clean up this mess that I did.
No, yeah.
But there's some people who go, well, no, it's working, so I'll just keep doing it. And you go, oh, you don't even understand what the pure thing of it is because you're not supposed to be doing this.
Yeah.
No,
It's not for you.
It's like, in the beginning, I thought that jokes was going to, it's not the jokes.
I know.
It's me being authentically myself.
It's you.
Yeah.
No one is
saying.
paying for the jokes.
Exactly.
They don't care about the jokes.
I can really relate to this person because I think that not being an addict, but somebody who has had a lot of like abuse in my life, abuse turns into perfectionism.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I had to reframe the idea of rejection or abuse and not take it as not render me paralyzed, basically. So if there's a way for you to sort of reframe that rejection and not really see it as a rejection rather than like, okay, this is just all part of the process. Because what happens with me is that I never fully follow through with a lot of things in my life because, you know, I was beat constantly by my mom for the tiniest thing, for the tiniest error.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's a part of his history, but when I go to therapy, that's something that I constantly struggle with is to be able to take a negative and not have it feel like an attack
Yeah.
to my being.
Yeah.
So to kind of change it so that it lands a little softer on me so that it feels like fuel rather than a reason to go hide in a hole somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
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 I think that the rejection thing, I don't think there is this world where that ends.
Exactly.
I don't think it ends. I think you write what's good, and like you said, you can't worry about the results. I think that's a great point. Right now I'm sitting in an abyss of rejection where I've made this documentary and I don't know if anyone's going to buy it, and I actually think it's very good. I've made this TV show that I don't know if anyone will ever see it, and I actually think it's pretty good. For my first stab at like doing a TV show, I've written this other thing, and all these things are 3+ years, 2 to 3 years of like putting these things together and making them. I've written this other thing that I think would be so fun as like a comedy special, and no one is biting on it, but saying this is a good script.
Yeah.
And I'm in this point of going, well, what do I do if I create stuff? Like, why would I create it if I can't push it past the next thing? And so I am myself similar, and I also wrote this letter under a pseudonym.
James Scovel? Is that you?
Hi. Anyway.
You're so right, though, because let's suppose publishers did bite what he's written.
Yes.
The rejection doesn't end there. You could be rejected by the public. You could be rejected by critics. You could be rejected. The whole way through till the very end is one giant rejection.
I think I'm trying to figure out, because it's not me. This will make sense. It's not me, but I'm trying to figure out how to be more this Hunter S. Thompson of, this is what I fucking wrote. Now fucking read it, and even if you like it, fuck off.
Yeah.
Not that I love that,
Yeah.
and it's not me.
Yeah.
That's not who I am.
Right.
But I'm trying to somewhat absorb this element of like, just make the fucking thing and get it out there in some way, as opposed to me looking at this show as the end game of like, that'll be the jumping point.
Yeah.
What if it's not? What if no one ever sees it, and one day Viacom's like, you know what, you can just put it on YouTube? Would I then go, well, no, it deserved this better home? Or would I go, yeah, I just want people to see it so that maybe it leads to the next thing? Or people go, hey, I enjoyed that. And you go, yeah, I wish we made more, but hey, you know, follow me. I am going to make more stuff. If you do like it, I might give you more product that you like.
Right.
And the documentary, it's like it's all this same stuff of just trying to figure out, you know, what do you do with ideas and where do you put them? Because I I'm no longer in a position of caring so much about money. And the fame that I've been around, like adjacent to, I haven't even liked being adjacent to it. So I myself have learned, because when you start out as like a stand-up, while you're not ever thinking fame and fortune, when things start rolling, you're like, oh man, maybe I'll be famous.
Yeah.
Oh man, maybe I'll be like rich.
Yeah.
But then I think you get to a point where those things start to mean something to you, where you go, now that I've seen how famous people live and what they have to put up with, because I don't envy that life.
Yeah.
And having a lot of money, I wouldn't. Money is great, and I would gladly take more. But I think at this point, I like how much I have. I would almost take more to be like, all right, let's put it into some stuff that, like, donating to a campaign and like other stuff on different. Where you just go, okay, I don't want it for self-serving purposes because I don't think that's what I want to do or how I want to be. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think the rejection stops. I think you have to figure out who you are, what you want to be, and then you just make it. I mean, being a writer is tough, but there's also a world where there's people online. You look up publishers, and they're like, yeah, we'll publish stuff. We're not Penguin Books or whatever, but yeah, you want to make a book? I know so many people that have written a book that should not have written a book.
Yes.
And they have it in their hands, and they can hand it to you.
Yeah.
And you're like, how did you do this? And they're almost like, well, I'm not great at writing books, but I am great at knowing how to print out the books and make the books and give the books away. And you almost want to be like, oh, you really want to be a writer when you should be a publisher.
Yeah.
But then in this instance, here's a writer, and it's like, hey, you're not so lucky that you get to just be a writer. You have to be a little bit of a business person and a publisher, and like, you make your own path, knowing it may go nowhere. That's what art. That's the beauty and the sadness of art. It may go nowhere, but would you rather have not made it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it spark a joy? As
Spark a
Marie Kondo says.
All right. You know, my
Does it spark a joy?
my brother's
When you say it very like the word is spaka.
It is. Does it spark a joy?
Does it spark a joy?
my brother's neighbor, Greg, just did a documentary.
Oh God, I thought. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, my brother's neighbor, Craig, did a documentary about an artist in Cleveland. He's like an 80-year-old man, and he never showed his artwork to anybody.
Yeah.
Right? And he's just been painting all his whole life.
Yes.
He did 4 pieces a year, and each piece is a masterpiece.
Yes.
Right? And at first when I saw the documentary, I felt really sad that, like, this guy, no one appreciated his work, and he didn't make any money off of it. What a fucking scandal.
Yeah.
But when you hear the guy talk, he's just like, no, I just needed to do this.
Yeah. And then you were
to
like,
live.
oh, never mind. He succeeded.
Yes.
Because he didn't care if anyone liked it or saw it.
Yes. Yeah.
That's our disease. Stand up. You can't do stand up by yourself.
I know.
Our dependence
I
is
know.
crippling.
Hey, Rory, I just want to say, man, I honestly, I didn't, we would say hi to each other, but I didn't know you that.
Not me. Just so all the listeners go, Bobby would say hi, and I go, fuck off, dude. I'm busy
But
right
you're
now.
fucking, dude. You're full of depth, dude, and you know what I mean. You're a good dude, and just incredible. You were incredible to have on this podcast.
Thank you.
Really
Yeah, this was so
we really,
fun.
really
I
enjoyed
appreciate
you,
it.
man.
Thanks,
and
man.
thank you so much for doing it. Appreciate it, man.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly, it just Spaka-joyed for me.
Spaka-joyed.
Spaka-joyed.
Joy.
Give him a round of applause, everybody.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing.
Check out RoryScovel.com for all his tour dates.
Hell yeah.
Housekeeping with George Kimmel. George, who do you want to thank for our sponsors?
I'd like to thank Hims, Liquid IV, and BetterHelp. For a special offer, go to forhims.com/belly to get the first month free. Special offer for our listeners only.
Special offer for TigerBelly listeners. Get 25% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use the code BELLY at checkout.
And special offer for TigerBelly listeners again. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/belly.
And guys, make sure you see the Slep King live. I believe he was in just Chicago not too long ago, and he actually went to go see people after the show. So if you want to see the Slep King live and possibly take a picture with him, go to BobbyLeeLive.com and check out his tour dates. San Jose, February 28th through March 1st. Denver, Colorado, March 12th through 14th. Houston, Texas, March
27th, the 29th at the Houston Improv, Dallas, Texas, April 3rd through 5th, and San Diego, California, April
30th,
May
2nd.
2nd.
American Comedy Club. Go to BobbyLeeLive.com and grab them for
Get your questions on TigerBelly by emailing us at adviceunhelpful@gmail.com. We're looking for all the best and most interesting, perfect questions that fit with our show theme that day. Remember the one that was right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're not recording this the day after we record this. So, yeah, again, that's adviceunhelpful@gmail.com.
Also, guys, we have the winner of our contest. You remember how we said we had a contest last week, and it was so confusing how we explained that no one did it. So
But
that's why
you still win. You still win.
You still win, and we chose Ant Kool-Aid, ANTKOOLAID. You, sir, win a little gift bag from George Kimmel. So we will hit you up, and you win. Little after party.
Little after party, Bobby.
Little after party, Bob. And so for next week's contest, just someone make a TigerBelly meme and hashtag TigerBelly. Tag us on Instagram, on Twitter, and we will choose another winner for a gift bag. I almost said basket. We can't afford that. All right, guys. We love you so much. Follow TigerBelly on Instagram at TigerBelly. On Twitter at TigerBelly. Everything Khalyla at Calamity K. Everything Bobby Lee at Bobby Lee Live. George Kimmel, where can we find you?
George_Kimmel.
And everything, whoever your favorite candidate in politics, at Gilbert. Bye.
Oh, and one more thing. I didn't
Go
get
ahead.
to print it out. Did you get your phone? Yeah, check your texts.
Okay.
Real quick. I've got the read in there.
For there.
For what?
Oh, my God.
Oh my God.
What is it?
Congrats.
I've been holding this
George.
in. I wanted to tell you guys so
What is
bad.
it?
What?
I never got it. You got the dates?
Yes.
Bro.
Oh my God, I'm crying. Oh, I'm so happy for you, George.
Oh, my. Why didn't you save this for the podcast?
I was saving it, but then we didn't do it.
You son of a bitch. You did it.
I love how you just had a whole hour. I was having a 20-minute conversation about this.
I'm so happy.